Hi, all. I'm Trisha Peach, host of the Peach Buzz, and today, very, very special episode that I have been thinking about for a long time. Since the beginning of this year, I've had at least 9 people that I've helped to get their book published. I have self-published 6 of my own that have done pretty well. I published one on my doctoral thesis, and so I get asked all the time, why did you self-publish? How can I do it? I'm going to walk you through it step by step, and you should be able to see my screen there. I'm going to walk you through the whole process, start to finish. Full disclosure, I have published all of mine through KDP, through Amazon, used to be known as CreateSpace. Some of you may decide to go the traditional route. What's the difference? Well, the traditional route, some of them don't accept cold submissions, which is you just send it to them without asking. Remember, you got to have a thick skin. You go traditional and you send it out to 1,000 people, you may get 999 no's. You got to just keep going. A lot of famous authors have had a lot of rejections before they got a yes and got published. My advice to you would be, don't give up. Keep going, keep trying. Remember, though, that with a traditional publisher, what I was told at least was I would still have to have a social media platform and do a lot of the marketing myself on my own social media sites. So I thought, well, and that's what a large part of your would-be profits go to, is to traditional publishing marketers. Okay, so for marketing, well, I make more profits doing this self-publishing, a lot more than I would through traditional publishing. And either way, I'd have to do all my own advertising on social media. I'm sure that traditional publishers would have more of a budget for commercials or in print advertising. But this is the route I went on, because when I published my first book, no one knew me from Adam. I'd been a full-time staff children's pastor for 17 years, and I'd always wanted to write a book. Had no idea what was going on. So I had to learn the hard way, and I'm going to talk you through it one step at a time. So hopefully you can learn from my experiences, I hope. So today we are going to focus only on your paperback or your hardback book. Why not the ebook? I get asked this all the time. Well, once you got the paperback, you just push a button and the ebook pops up. No, at least with KDP, when you want the Kindle version of your book, it'll say, oh, it's so easy. No, it's not. At least not in my experience. It's a pain in the neck. I just lose, my sanctification. Vexes my righteous soul. I've been reduced to tears once or twice. Had to have my husband help. He's in IT. Maybe yours will be totally different from mine, but I'm going to do a separate video on the process for an ebook or Kindle book. I just need you to understand, today we're just talking about your paperback or your hardcover, because the Kindle is a whole nother program. The ebook is different. Oh yeah, it's not just, I was under that impression too. I thought when you had your print book, they just shrunk it down and that was what you had on your phone. No, not at all. No, but we will go through that a different day. For today, I'm going to talk about your ebook. So let's say you've decided to try to self-publish a book, and you say, well, I don't want to market on social media. I don't have a social media platform. I'll tell you the same thing. I went to a guy to talk to him about marketing with my first book, and he said, well, you have a Twitter account? I said, no. And he said, you do now. Like, well, I didn't want Instagram. I didn't want Pinterest. I didn't want any of it. And he said, don't care. You're going to start writing a blog twice a week. You're going to start friending anyone and everyone that's in your field, because that's your platform. That's your target audience. So if you're a pastor, might be other senior pastors, staff pastors. For me, it was other children's pastors. I did what this man told me to do, and it worked. So you're going to have to get over your trepidation for social media. I have found that older writers tend to fight more on that, going, I don't want to have a blog. I don't want to have, well, if you want to get your book out there for it to minister to people, you're going to have to. So what he told me was to spend at least 1 hour a day friending people in my field, or building a platform, begin to write about my book. You can make little commercials and advertisements on Canva. That is Canva. But let's say you've decided you're going to self-publish, and I've only done through KDP. There's other ones out there. It used to be called CreateSpace. So this is what it looks like. You're going to have to create an Amazon account. If you already have one for shopping, that makes it easier. Go with that. If you don't have one and you say, I don't want one, well, you can't kind of need one. You're going to have one. They don't let you self-publish through there without one. And your royalties are put directly into your bank account. So they need you to set that account up with your bank account information. So when you log into Kindle Direct Publishing, this is the address you need to go to, the kdp.amazon.com. You're going to see bookshelves, reports, community marketing. They even have some cool marketing things that you can do, some of them for free, that have been really nice for me. I also do like the Facebook ads as well, which have also really worked well. By the way, they say self-published books, a successful one, an average one, would sell about 3,000 copies in its entire lifetime. Mine sold more than that its first year, but I can tell you why. A lot of that was the Kickstarter I did really helped with the advertising part of that. And I'll explain that here in a little bit. So the first thing you're going to go to is Bookshelf, okay? And your bookshelf is going to show all of the books that you have already published or are working on. So if you first start, there won't be anything here yet under Bookshelf. These are the works that I have self-published. This green one here would be my first one. And you can see Kindle ebook live. Thank you, God, I got through it. Kindle ebook live here. So these are my first books. This is the paperback. This is the paperback of these. So we're going to pretend, I'm going to walk you through it because I'm a visual learner and I like to do things. So you can log in and follow along with me. And if it's not making sense, rewind it and come on back. That's why I'm doing this on video, to help you. So this is a children's book I've been working on, and this children's book, I'll just use this as an example because you'll notice this says draft. It means it's not live yet on Amazon. Here's my Kindle ebook for my Psalms one, is also not live yet. Oh, someday, friends, someday. So we're going to pretend that this is yours. You have your book ready to go. You're excited about it. You're going to start setting it up. That's great. Before, I thought as an author, when I wrote the book, I'm done. Yay, I'm done. No, that's great. Now you start the uphill battle of all this other stuff, but I got you. The next thing you need to do is have an editor look at it, preferably someone you're not related to. And before you start arguing with me, no, I'm really good at English. I'm not saying you aren't. English was one of my best subjects. I did fantastic on English. I almost cried when that editor sent my first book back covered in red ink. But what you need to understand is that if you post that with errors and you're too prideful to let someone else look at it, if it has errors in it, Amazon's going to take it down. It's going to be flagged for low quality. And then after that, people are not going to want to try to buy your book because you've come out with this low quality item and it was flagged for low quality, which can be very embarrassing. I had one of my Kindle books. I didn't realize that when they looked at it on a certain screen was all garbled and got taken down. I had to fix all of that and put it back up. Pay for an editor, and you need an editor that'll tell you the truth, not one that'll tell you what you want to hear. And I know as authors, we're like, this is my baby. I'm showing my baby to the world. And you don't want somebody to say, that's an ugly baby. But you need to have an editor. Now, Amazon has editors that you can hire, which I did for my first book. But with subsequent books, I hired people that I knew to do it. Here you've got all these tutorials that they have. Free ISBNs. That's a question I get asked a lot. What about copyright? How do I get a copyright? If you publish through KDP, you have the copyright and they give you a free ISBN, and publishing through them is completely free. So you don't have to worry about that. And you have that copyright unless you've already published it through a traditional publisher. In that case, you can't publish on here because they own the rights. That's the way that works. So if you have never published it anywhere, you still have the copyright, whether you applied for any or not. It's yours. You wrote it, unless you have sold it to a traditional publisher. So none of mine had been sold to a traditional publisher. And I got the money for the editor from the Kickstarter. My husband had the idea for a Kickstarter for my first book because nobody knew me. And that Kickstarter, which I believe was $5,000, it paid for the editor, the professionally done covers, the layout, the interior layout, and the pictures. We're kids ministry people. Of course, my first two books have lots of pictures. You know, your children's ministry from scratch, of course it has pictures. I wanted it to be professional, so that's something totally different is the layout person. So you say, well, I hired an editor. Yes, the editor is only looking at your grammar, punctuation, citations, sentence structure, paragraphs. They're not looking at the page layout. You almost need someone with magazine experience that can show you how it should look on the page, especially if it has pictures. You might be saying, wait, I didn't know there was so much involved. I know, I learned this the hard way. I did not have any of those skills. I'm a writer. I can't do artwork to save my life. I'm not a cover creator or layout person. So that Kickstarter, we raised the $5,000. It paid for all of that and all of my author copies, so I could sell those at conferences and give them away to missionaries. By the way, if you go traditional publishing, you're very limited in what you can do because you don't own it anymore. They do. I didn't like the thought of that. I like that I can give it to missionaries. I will continue to do so. In the first year, I think it sold 4,000, something like that. But a lot of that was because of the buzz that came from the Kickstarter. It gave me advertising, free advertising, which really, really helped. So this one, I'm just going to do continue setup, but you would click on setup, and you will have to do all of this for your book. So I'm hoping you can follow along. This is the language that the book is written in, English. The title, you can have a subtitle here if you want. Please note, whatever you put here is what's going to be printed on Amazon's website. You do not want this whole thing to have a bunch of spelling errors or any errors, because that will look really bad. It'll probably get taken down for quality if you just throw stuff on here. This is incredibly important down here, the description. I just put this in as a placeholder. I will fix this description later. A plot hound hunts the garbage bear and the UPS bear while training in the new pup. Whatever you put here is the description that people will see on Amazon. This will make or break your book. That's what sells books, that description. People will read this and decide whether or not to write your book. To read your book. Please give this some thought. Think about how to succinctly put, this is what my book's about. Something with a hook to grab that reader. I have some good ones for my first and second books. My thesis book. You should probably be just putting I own the copyright and I hold the publishing rights. I always put that because I have never sold mine to a traditional publisher. What they're asking you here is, okay, you really wrote this and you haven't published this anywhere else. So I have not published it anywhere else. I own the copyright. Public domain would be like way old. I think, like so old that no one owns, it'd be public domain. So more than likely you're going to be clicking this top one. I own the copyrights. Adult only content. No. By this, they don't mean you're aiming at adults. By this, they mean, is it full of sexually explicit content, nude pictures? Is it full of foul language? Of course, no. For mine are Christian how-to books for pastors. So I would say the minimum would be 3 that would understand it, 18 plus. Primary marketplace is Amazon.com because that's the one I'm in. Don't worry about this too much because you can, I still offer mine in all the Amazon platforms, Amazon Canada, Amazon India. So you can offer it everywhere. Just put the Amazon platform you're most comfortable with where you live. So I have Amazon.com. Categories, extremely important. I never have published a low content book. That would be just journals, notebooks, planners. I haven't published a large print book, but my uncle has 16-point font size so that people can see what he's written. Mine don't qualify for that, so they're not checked. So you need to pick the right categories for your book. For mine, it's under books, Christian books and Bibles. Churches and church leadership is usually where mine is. Some of mine are under Christian education, and this can get a little difficult. You're going, okay, what is it supposed to be under? And if you get frustrated and say, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. Please remember, this is how people find your book. So let's say your book is on marriage, okay, marriage and family. So you're probably, and it's a Christian book. So you're going to go Christian books and Bibles, okay. Subcategory, see if they have marriage or family. I don't see that. So that's kind of a bummer. So you could do Christian living. Let's do Christian living. Marriage, there we go. Okay. So this is important because somebody might put in Christian book on marriage and you want yours to pop up and be right there. Hey, try this book. If you do this wrong, the people that want your book and need to read it are not going to be able to find it. So you might even want to ask for advice on which ones to pick that will help people pick the right one. Don't leave those blank. That's really important. I don't think they'll let you leave all of them blank. But I'm going to save and continue. Now we're into content. So this was details. Now we're into content. This is the actual book itself. So I just put assign me a free KDP. Okay. So here is, this is my copyright number. This is my ISBN. It's unique for my book, and you will have one unique for your book. I usually put publication date is whenever it's live on Amazon. Doesn't matter to me. So whenever it's live on Amazon. For paper, you're either going to pick black and white, which I've done a lot. Black and white with cream paper. My uncle did that for his last book. I have never gone with the premium color interior with white paper because that is a whole lot more expensive, which means you're going to pay, well, not pay, but the way it works is somebody pays $15 for your book. They subtract how much it actually takes for them to print it, and then you get the rest as royalties. So out of $15, I usually get $6 or $7. And if that sounds bad, the one traditional publisher I talked to, I was going to get 9 cents per book because all the rest was going to marketing. Now, I'm not saying they're all that way. I'm not saying it's still that way. That was back when I went to publish my first book. I'm really glad I went the route I did, but other people would prefer something else. Trim size. This is how big the book is going to be. So I usually go with 6x9. 6x9 was kind of a newish one when I started. A lot of people go with the 5x8, but these are all normal sizes that people will print their book in. there's a problem that we're going to talk about here in just a sec. Most of you wrote your book probably in Word or Works, something like that, and you probably used 8.5 by 11, because most of us do. That's standard issue paper, 8.5 by 11. More than likely your book is going to be published in like 6 by 9 or 5 by 8. And you're like, so what? What's the problem? Well, if you worked really hard to put all your chapters exactly where you wanted them and all your margins right where you wanted them, kiss them goodbye, because as soon as you transfer to this other size, it's going to throw it all off. So what they suggest and what I suggest really strongly is that you create a template. My husband created for me an exact template, this right here, 6 by 9 inches. And I put my book, I copied and pasted the whole book into the 6 by 9 template. And then I rearranged it the way that I wanted it, with the margins and the chapters right where I wanted them. Some of you work so hard on a table of contents and all your page numbers at 8.5 by 11. Sorry, you're going to have to redo the whole thing when it goes to 6 by 9 or 5 by 8, because that's all going to be off now. The page numbers will get, so you may have started with a 140 page book and now it's 189, just because you're shrinking the page size. So what I would do is create that template, and when you create that template, then you're going to like print to PDF, and then it will be a PDF. A print, what they call print ready PDF on that 6 by 9 template. That's going to save you so much time, make it so much easier. So here where it says upload paperback manuscript, you upload a manuscript of your book's interior. This is not the cover, no cover, just your print ready. I usually use a PDF. I use a formatted PDF already in my 9 by 6 template. You could do 8 by 5 template if that's what you're using, or whatever size you're using, that's what you need to upload. Otherwise you're going to have a total mess unless you're doing 8.5 by 11. That's not a real common size for books. I did publish an 8.5 by 11 for my Psalms workbook, and I think also for one of the kids musicals I wrote. And because it was a musical, it was okay to be 8.5 by 11. Just make sure you move your book to the template that matches the size you want. So 9 by 6 or 8 by 5 or whatever it is, and then convert that to PDF, upload it. It says here you can also upload a doc file, docx, HTML, RTF, as long as it's in English. If it's in these others, you have to use a PDF. I usually upload a PDF. This is a new thing that I think is absolutely awesome. Cover Creator. Now you remember I said I paid quite a bit for cover design, and I got incredible covers on my books. My first and second one, especially your Children's Ministry from Scratch or Children's Ministry Beyond Basics. But now they have this new thing I'm going to show you. It's called Cover Creator, and guess what? It's free. Don't we love it? We love free. I love free. Free is good. So you put in your, you put in what you want to look at, and they make it for you. So let's say it's that marriage book, and I totally haven't tried this before, but I'm just going to put in marriage, see if that comes up. Nope. Let's do couple. Okay. So this one right here might work. You got the two hands over the coffee cups. Oh, this is cute. Okay. So let's say you're doing a marriage one for a couple that is struggling, having a really tough time. So I would say then maybe this first one where they don't look like they're talking, right? So you pick this one for your marriage book, Christian marriage book. All right. It's going to have the wrong title here because it has my title, but you see all these different, they give you all of these and say, take a look, see which one you like. See, I think I would use that design and pull it down a little bit so you could see the couple. See, I wouldn't like where her face is covered, but you see what I mean, where you get to pick something that matches what you want. Okay. And I have used this for my last two, including my thesis. I really liked it. I thought it was great. I've been kind of able to find my way around it. This has been pretty self-explanatory. Now you notice here you can upload a cover you already have. It has to be a print-ready PDF. The tricky part here is, again, you have to have it in that template of that size, the 9x6. And just so you know, I learned this the hard way. When it says a print-ready PDF, that has to include the front and the back and the spine, all in one file. I did not know how to do this, so I had to hire someone with graphic design skill that could do front cover, back cover, and spine, make it print ready so I could upload it. That used to be your only option. Now you've got Cover Creator, and it worked for me. I talked to somebody the other day that said no, they would want to still create their own. I say, great idea, go for it. I'm not good at creating my own. If you want to hire someone that's really good at it, go for it. So if I was sticking with Ursani Means Bear Hunter, I would probably look for a picture of a dog. And I would probably be looking more for like a hunting hound because, plot hound. So just pick this one to take a look at. There you go. I like this one here. Trisha Peach, Ursani Means Bear Hunter. Yeah. See all these different designs? And these are free. And I can click on one, and that's the one that it will put with the book. So then it will print this as your cover and back, and it will have your interior in the middle. So once you do that, you style this however you want it. You can click on it and do whatever you want with it. Here's something very important that I need you to know. They also say not just the description that you put earlier, back covers of books sell books. People look at them, they look at the back, and they sell them. And that's what sells books. So the back is very important. Down here, usually you have a picture of yourself and a biography of yourself. I have that on mine. This is just gibberish right now, but I would put my picture here and I would put my biography right here. Just a short snippet of who I am. And then up at the top, this is really important. You could put that description that you put on Amazon. That would fit really well there. Even better would be endorsements. And let me just say this for what it's worth. Nobody knew me. As I said, nobody knew me from Adam. I hadn't started traveling and speaking yet. This was before the conferences, before all of that. So I went to publish my first book, and I read that the most important thing was endorsements from people that have been in the field a long time. So I picked the most popular kids pastors I could think of that were very successful, and I wrote to 20 of them, asking them to read one chapter from my book and give me a blurb or endorsement, or have me on their blog or their podcast or their channel. And let me tell you right now, 17 out of 20 said yes and gave me amazing little blurbs and let me go on their podcast or their blog. I say you get nothing if you don't ask. If you don't ask, you get nothing. So you might as well ask. And again, you got to be strong. So if you get no's, it's going to be okay. I now try to have authors on my show and I talk about them on my blog because so many of them helped me when I needed it. So you get good endorsements, those blurbs, put them on the back of the book, put them on a website for the book, put them on all your social media. That really helps people because they may not know you, but they may know this other person and say, okay, I'm going to give this book a chance. Again, it's all about getting it to your audience. So then in the preview, you look at what it's going to look like with the interior and the exterior. I don't have the interior up here yet for this book, but you get to look at it exactly how it's going to print, what it's going to look like when people buy it. Okay. So I've been able to look at my books, and I'll even page through it because I can look at what the interior is going to look like as well. And you need to look at this carefully and make sure one more time that there are no mistakes inside. Okay. Inside the book. The quality is so important. I don't know if I can go into one of these and let you see one that's already on here. See, I can order author copies. Author copies are pretty cheap. That just is for the cost of printing. So this one here, Psalms: A Deep Dive, it cost me about $3.99 for an author's copy, but then you sell them at conferences or when you're speaking and traveling. So just so you know, you help creators a lot more when you buy what they have at one of their conferences than buying from Amazon. You help a creator either way, but when you buy it from them directly, it helps them a lot more. And by the way, most of them are never going to get rich off of this. Okay. You're doing it for ministry. You're doing it to help further the kingdom. You're not doing it to get rich. Like I said, you're lucky to sell 3,000 of each one, and at $5, maybe $5-6 that you get back from that, and you got to be okay with if it's less than that just you minister to the people that needed it, but you got to have realistic expectations. So with each of these, I had to approve the paperback edition. I approved it, and then then it went live. What's going to happen is once you approve it, you preview it. They have you preview it. You go through the whole thing and you say, I like this. I like the interior. I like the exterior. This looks great. Let's print it. Then you click the button to go live. Once you do that, it goes to the Amazon people, and it may really be computers. I'm not sure, but those computers go through it, looking for mistakes, looking for errors, looking for punctuation, looking for anything that's not right. It's not going to print right because they want quality. So after it is accepted, if it's accepted, then it will go live, and you'll get a notification. And let me tell you, it feels so good. It's so awesome. They'll say your book is now live and available in the Amazon store. That's when you take that link and you go on all your social media sites and you call all your friends or text them. You're like, hey, put this out. And you have to really get it out there. You wrote this because you felt like it was going to help people, that people were going to be blessed by it. Well, you got to be aggressive. You can't just sit there and dig a hole and hide your talent in the dirt and cover it over. No, you need to be out there presenting it without apology. So I would say Facebook groups that allow you to do that. Get on a bunch of Facebook groups. Get on your district groups from your denomination and show them what you have available. Okay, so that's what you do for the print. And they'll also say, do you want an author's proof? So you can say, yes, I want an author's proof. So they'll I think they send you one. I don't know if that costs or not. But then after that, author's copies are pretty cheap and you can buy a bunch. I usually have some to sell at conferences, and I will send some with missionaries if they ask me. They'll say, hey, we're doing kids ministry over here. My first book is now in 14 countries and 7 languages, something like that. I never expected that. I just said, God, here's my little loaves and fish. Do with it as you will. I had to learn things the hard way. I messed a lot of things up the first and second and thousandth time, but God used it, and here it is. So many people have asked me, they'll say, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start. I hope this helps you. Please give me any questions you have down below. I will try to answer, and we're going to do in a separate one how to do the ebook and Kindle version. I know it says on here, it's like, oh, you can just click this and do the ebook. No, you click the Kindle version and it takes you to it will take you to the program for the Kindle ebook, and I'll tell you what I've learned on that. I've gotten better at it, so we'll see how that goes. But this, you notice how you can also have a hardcover now too. That's a new thing. So you can order a hardcover or a paperback. You can have them available. Mine are only available in paperback and Kindle. So paperback and Kindle. I haven't gone with the hardcover. So paperback and Kindle for mine. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Please post your questions down below. I will try to answer as best I can. Please share this with the authors in your life or the people that would like to be an author. I'll just share. I wasn't planning on sharing this, but my dad has been a pastor for 47 years. He's an amazing preacher, and he had all these sermons that he just keeps in a drawer. And I said, Dad, why? You keep these papers, they're not blessing anybody in your underwear drawer. You've always said you want to publish a book. And he's like, yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know how. And so I just went through all of this with my dad, who is 69 and wants to, because I said, are they helping anyone in the bottom of your desk drawer? At least this way they'll be out there helping people that need them. So he's going to be publishing his first book soon through KDP. So I figure if he can do it, you can do it. If God's laid something on your heart, keep plugging away to get it out there. And this is one way that I hope will help. All right. Let me know any questions. I love you guys. I will see you next week on the Peach Buzz. Don't forget to like and subscribe.